if I don't hear from you, I'm going to stop submitting you because I don't know that you're not busy. You know, if you're really 100% into this, you're going to communicate with me. You know?
Yes, everyone. Welcome back and get ready for an incredible episode with Susan, the owner of STW right here in Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to go over how Susan focuses on having such an intimate, close relationship with her talent, why she drops so many actors, and how you get to make the decision how things happen for you, not to you. Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Get Scene Unscripted. We are coming at you today with another incredible episode with an agent, everyone. But before I jump in, I gotta say thank you so much to everybody that has been leaving a review or commenting on YouTube. It really does mean the world to me that you are commenting and reviewing and just sharing how the podcast is really helping your actor journey in a big way. So thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. And I want to give a shout out to Witbit with lots of T's, by the way, everyone. It's important that you know that. It says, this podcast has been a great way to hear from some of the biggest industry insiders, especially for those of us in the Atlanta market. Each of the guests has shared some really valuable gems, and it's also interesting to get to hear more about each of them on a more personal human level. And with that, everyone, we are going to do that again today. We have Miss Susan Walters from STW in the house. Susan, what's up?
Hey, good to be here.
Are you ready to do this?
Absolutely.
So I'm so excited that you're here. I've been wanting, we kind of talked before we got started, but I've been wanting to, work with you and get to know you a little bit more. And so this is how we're doing it.
I love it. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And so when I learned a little bit more about you in my research, I learned that you were an actor first. And I found it interesting that you kind of, I guess, first learned about the representation aspect of the business by shadowing your manager in LA. And I'd love to kind of hear what gave you that idea and what you kind of learned along the way.
It seems like everything in my life has just happened to go in the right direction, or I took the direction that was meant to be without knowing it. I didn't mean to shadow my manager. It was all an accident.
Really?
I started working with her, and I was taking some classes, and, you're a broke actor in LA, and I was like, those classes are too expensive at the Improv. So she said, I'll tell you what, I'll pay for your classes if you just come, help me do some clerical work. I'm like, okay, I can do that. So I did. I would show up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym. It's such a funny story. Gary Marsh owns Breakdown Services. It was his mother.
Really?
Was my manager.
Wow.
Right? So Gary used to do the breakdowns on paper. That's how long ago it was. And he would roll them up in a rubber band and leave them at the 7-Eleven near my house in LA.
Really?
At Pico and Sepulveda. And so I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go and pick those up, drive down to Marina Del Rey, which is where she lived. I would give her, the breakdowns, and she would flip through them. I would work out. She had a gym there at the Marina City Yacht Club, and so I would work out. I was her daughter, on the membership.
Right.
And I would work out. Then we would go to her office, and she would pull the headshots for what roles, and I would, put a sticky note on them or whatever, and put them in an envelope. And I would get in my car, and I'd drive them to the casting directors. I would just drop them off in person. So I got to know LA better. I got to know the casting directors better. And that's kind of how it happened. I never meant to do that. And so I was taking the classes at the improv, and she had a couple of new students, and I would come back after learning, 6 weeks or whatever, and then teach her new students. Again, I didn't mean to be a teacher, but it just happened. So that's how it all started.
So like, was that the original idea, or you were like, oh my God, this was great, and she's like, that is great, like teach it to everyone else, because like she kind of, I mean, I think so smart on her side of things, right? Like she's like, come help me do this work, and then you learn, and then we'll give it to everybody. But yeah, how did the like teach it to everyone come up?
I think she had a couple of new people, and she said, how about you work with them a little bit? And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I had a degree in acting already, so I was knowledgeable. And it wasn't that I was teaching exactly what I was learning at the improv, but, there's always some good tidbits to bring back.
Yeah. And so then when you were going through that process of helping her, and man, the Gary Marsh, how Actors Access started, I just like by the 7-Eleven, I love it.
I think he rode his bike actually and dropped him off at the 7-Eleven, and I go pick him up.
Let's go,
that's the
Gary.
Story.
Let's go.
Yeah,
like,
he's worked hard.
Yeah, the grind.
Right.
That's incredible. What would you say were some of the biggest lessons in you being able to really be on like both sides of it at that time?
I didn't even think of it that way.
Really?
I just felt like I was helping her, just a little side help. And I was still enjoying the classes, going on auditions, stuff like that.
So do you at STW find an actor assistant here or there? Or because I feel like some agents are like, no, no, no. And so, but based on your past, I would think maybe you're like, yeah, we'll totally do that.
I use interns from college, and they don't know where they want to go yet. Not specifically actors. It's usually people who are thinking about behind the scenes, either casting or an agent, or, I've had some really good interns. I've got one that was one of my favorites, who is now one of the writers on FBI.
Oh, wow.
In New York. And it's funny because I have one of the series leads on the show. And back in the day, many years ago, probably 8, 9, 10 years ago, probably more than that even, we used to have to do the actual taping. Remember those days where you'd go to your agent's office and we would tape? So I'd have my interns do the taping sometimes. I would read with the actor and she would tape. And she used to tape Zico back in the day.
Oh, wow. That's
and now
so
they're
cool.
on set. She's writing material for him now.
That is wild. That is so, like that. It's so interesting because I feel like that, like the world and the industry can be like so big, but then like so tiny at the exact same time.
Absolutely.
So if an actor wanted to be your assistant, are you like, nope, I only do interns. I only have interns, or you think you might be able to be convinced one of these days?
No, I did back in the day before I was franchised. Once I became SAG franchised, I'm a stickler for rules. So no actor in the office can't do it. It's, I feel like they would get information that other people wouldn't, and it wouldn't be fair, So I'm going to keep everything fair.
For sure, for sure. You mentioned when the agents had to tape the actors. It's funny, like when I think about that now, like it's just like wild how the agents had to adapt and had like no choice in the matter. Like, cause that's when like I immediately started taping myself with my roommates. We kind of just already knew how to do that. And so because it was just kind of like when I moved to the Southeast, that's what it was happening. Like, so I didn't really know the difference. But now that I like look back to it, I'm like, you're doing all of this work as an agent. And now they're like, by the way, like do the casting director's job too and tape the actors. How did you balance that? I mean, I know you said that you had the intern, but I guess on the agent side, like, did you guys put up a fight a little bit? Like, what are you guys talking about? We don't have time to do this. We can't do this. Or it was just like, well, we got to do what we got to do.
I actually enjoyed it.
Did you?
because I got to see my actors work right in front of me, and because of my background. And I taught for 20 years before I became an agent, so I could give some direction. And I felt like we had a really good booking ratio on the tapes that I helped tape.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I got to know the actors better, and that's so important to me.
Here at Get Scene Studios, I believe we really specialize in helping actors get agents. And so my favorite challenge is coming up, everyone. And for a limited time, you could get this 6-workshop series that's live for only $28. It's our Get an Agent Challenge, everyone. It's 2 weeks, 6 workshops, all live online. Now, if you miss anything, don't even worry about it because everything is recorded. But what this 6-part series really focuses on is gives you every tool and tactic you need to get an agent. And we're all together holding one another accountable to make sure you do the homework, you do what's needed so you can get an agent. Everyone, I love this challenge so much because people that have been looking for agents for 2 years get them in 2 weeks. It is unbelievable. So again, everyone, for a limited time, it is only $28. So grab your spot right now. You'll see the link in the pinned comments below. I cannot wait to see you there. Grab your spot for our Get an Agent Challenge. I love that. And so then I guess when it stopped, were you then
stop?
well, I guess my
Yeah.
from the agency having to tape
Right.
the actors, were you kind of bummed out about that, or do you still watch the tapes and kind of give that feedback?
I try to whenever I can. When I bring someone new on, I want to see the quality of tapes they're turning in. So the first few times, I definitely watch their material and I make sure that I give them notes if they need them or tell them great job if it was a great job. But then I have to trust them. I have professional actors. I need to trust that they're going to do professional tapes.
Yeah. When you were there with them giving notes, was there kind of a note or common denominator that you felt like came up that actors seemed to miss?
I think one of the things I always try and point out is not to show everything you're thinking. That it's so much more interesting as an audience member to try and figure out what you're thinking. That if you're just presenting it, and I think a lot of theater actors, that was my career was theater. They're so used to showing everything because you have that large audience to, give that information to. So a lot of times reminding them that it's more interesting to not show what they're thinking. To think it is enough sometimes.
Yeah. I love that. And I think you're so right. And to even just like go a little bit further on that point, it's like when you are a viewer of a movie or TV show, as the viewer, you like to figure it out. You like to guess and be on that journey. So I guess the question is like how do you draw the line, right? Like how do you like make the good choice but also leave it open, right? For the viewer to be able to guess, oh, they're thinking XYZ, or I bet they're gonna do whatever, or they're thinking this. Like how do we leave that available, do you think, for the viewer within like our auditions?
That's a hard question because it depends on the material. It depends on where the action's taking place. I mean, there's so many answers to it.
Sure.
That's
No, I understand it. I mean, I feel like one of the things, and I think we talked about this in a class a few nights ago, is like, I feel like sometimes it's like, don't be too proud of your choice. You know what I mean?
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah, like I feel like sometimes we're like, oh, this is a great idea. I gotta
gonna
show
show
you.
you.
Yeah, like I want you to know of my great idea. And
Don't miss this.
Right.
Here it is. Here it comes.
Yeah, here it comes.
Right.
I feel like for me, I feel like that can be like a good indicator. On like, yeah, don't be too excited about it because then that's how it ends up being too big.
I think enjoy having the secret. You know?
But yeah, like really let it be for you.
Right.
I think that's a really good one.
Okay.
It's like, don't be too excited and just like, yeah, like almost try to keep it from them on purpose, because that's what the character would be doing, right? Or that's what the story would be doing. We wouldn't be giving it all away anyway.
I mean, we don't as humans, so we need to portray that on the screen.
Yeah. I know that. So you taught you had a school in Wilmington. You also had a school in Fayetteville, right?
Yeah.
So what inspired starting those schools?
Again, the door opened and I went. I had just moved from LA to Wilmington, single mom, 2 kids. And the first thing I did was take my headshot and resume to the theater company there, Opera House Theater Company. It's still there. They're such a great theater company. And I got a lead in a show. And so my introduction to Wilmington was really good because I got, I came in as a lead in a big show. And then I befriended a guy who had some acting classes going on, and I'm good at organization. I'm good at creating stuff. Seems like I've always had a small business. I think I had a lemonade stand. I had a candy store. When I was a cheerleader, I came home the summer after college and had a cheerleading camp, and so I've always been kind of an entrepreneur. All right, there, I just forgot the question.
No, that's okay. Well, I have a quick other question. I'll go back to it. But did you get fired a lot?
Never.
Never? Interesting. I feel like entrepreneurs get fired a lot because they're like, I can't work for other people, and then like you almost like don't have a choice.
I almost never worked for anybody else.
Really?
No. I mean, I had a waitressing job, didn't everybody?
Yeah. But even that, I almost feel like you have like your section when you show up and you're like, this is my small business, these 5 tables or whatever,
Right, Right, okay.
That's kind of how I always looked at it when I was a server.
Yeah.
But it was when you started your schools, what inspired that?
I met someone who had a school, and we just started talking. He said, you should teach. And so I ended up organizing it. I brought in 5 teachers. It became, a really good acting school in Wilmington. I had really good teachers too. And then it seems like maybe 97, 98, the industry kind of moved to Canada. Do you remember that? You're kind of young.
I wasn't quite chasing it just yet. I mean, I was, but like as a boy.
Yeah. So it kind of died down, and that's when I remarried and moved to Fayetteville to help take care of my husband's mother. And so I was there a little while. I had another baby, and just, I'm not good at sitting still. So I was directing a school play with hundreds of kids, and someone in the audience had a small theater and came up to me and said, would you like to do this at this place I have sitting here? And I was like, well, let's talk. And ended up, I came up with the Highland Performing Arts Center. We had guitar lessons, singing lessons, dance lessons, acting on camera, acting for theater. We had it all. And that was about 4 years, and I got tired. I kind of burned out on teaching. There were so many people, and you have to say the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Each 12 weeks, here we go again. And then I moved back to Wilmington and went to meet with a casting director just to say, hey, I'm back in town, and I'm really tired of teaching. I don't think I'm going to open a school again. And he was like, you'd be a really good agent. Have you ever thought of that? And I said, no, I don't think so. I don't think I want that responsibility. And he was like, you really should think about it. So I did. I researched it. If I'm going to do something, I'm going 110 in,
Yeah.
So I researched it. I talked to people and prayed about it. And then I said, yes, I'm doing it. And he was like, well, good, hurry up and get it together. So 2009, I opened the business. And I still have some people on my roster from my original 25.
Wow. That's awesome. What what are some things that you love about being an agent that you didn't get to have being an actor or teaching?
I just love being an agent, period.
Okay.
It's not that I miss anything else. I just found the perfect spot for me. Never thought about it. It never came to my mind. One day I want to be an agent. I wanted to direct. And, I directed a bunch of theater, but I wanted to direct film and TV. That's what I really wanted to do. And with children, and, it just didn't happen. I wanted to go get my master's in directing. And anyway, I I went the agent route, and it was the perfect fit. I love everything about this business. I eat, sleep, and drink this business. I
That's
do. I
great.
love it.
You know, one thing that I really like love about, and you keep kind of saying it, and I just wonder if you're like even aware of it, but you keep saying like how just things like lined up for you perfectly. And you said that in the very beginning, and you keep saying like similar things, and it's just like, oh, it was perfect, and now it's perfect. And that's an outlook thing. You know what I mean? That's a mindset thing, because somebody else could have been like, oh, it's been hard and it's been rough. I started in LA and it didn't work out. And then I tried to do this and I had to move to Wilmington. Then I had to leave because I had to help my husband's mom and we had to go to Fayetteville. Like, you know what I mean? Like like all of that would still be true. And it's just all about how you look at it. And so I'd love to know, like, how do you have your mindset so attuned to being like, this is happening for me, not to me?
I would have to say my parents. My dad used to wake up every day, whether he felt good or not, and he'd say, "Boy, do I feel good."
Ah,
That was his saying. "Boy, do I feel good. It's going to be a great day." And I learned to look at life that way.
that is beautiful. I mean, so simple for somebody that might be like, well, that's easy for you to say, what do you think it's just done through repetition or?
It's mindset and hard work. You can't say it's going to be a great day and then not do anything to make it a great day. You have to go out and work hard. And that's all I know. You work hard and you'll get where you need to go, you know?
Yeah.
It might not be the dream. I'm not a director, but this is awesome. I love it. So I don't think I missed out on being a director. I just went a different way. I'm still in the industry that I absolutely love.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Understanding that it's okay for our dreams and our goals to change, and it doesn't make you less than or a failure, like that you didn't get there. Like it's okay to shift. It's okay to it's okay to morph. It like the point is like we want to be happy and feel fulfilled, and the idea of what that looks like for us might look one way, but it could also be so many other things as well. So like I love that you brought up how it can change like that, and how, well, I originally thought it would be a director, but what I'm doing I absolutely love. Was there ever a moment that you beat yourself up?
I don't remember really. Maybe, sure, I had some bad days in LA when I was like, I don't think this is going to happen,
Mm,
you know? But I didn't get down about it. I just, went a different direction.
yeah. Another thing that I love about you is creating different, like, other creative routes within the industry, because I'm like such a believer of that. Whereas like, oh, you helped your manager, you like opened some other schools and became an agent, and like what's your thought on um how we can as artists like continue to like be in the industry in some way, right? But maybe it whether it be like, you know what, I feel like this acting thing is not giving me enough stability, I guess. So it's like, so I'll use my talents just like in a different way that then creates more stability, and that will fulfill me. Like, how can an actor make that shift, or anybody in the industry, to say like, I'm not sure if I'm loving this because of these aspects of it, right? I do love acting, but like these aspects are tough for me. How can I make a shift so I'm still in the industry and finding that fulfillment?
It is the hardest industry that I can think of. There's so much rejection that you have to love it so much to keep going. You've got to not be able to do anything else because you love this so much to really keep going and handle all the rejection. And you have to not think of it as rejection. You have to put your mindset that you weren't the right choice this time.
Right.
And there's always other times, just keep going. But if it's not fulfilling them, it's more important to be happy than to stay steadfast in your dream. I think happiness trumps everything. You have to be able to wake up and feel good and go to bed and feel good about what you're doing in the world.
Yeah. How do you evaluate that within yourself? Like, am I as happy as I can be, or am I as happy as I want to be? And then how do you shift it if you need to?
I don't think I dwell on it. I think I just am. Does that? That's probably not a good answer, but
No, I think why it's such a good answer is like it's a decision.
Okay. Yeah. It truly is. And the reason I say that is, I have bad things that happen. I have, family tragedy. I have things, and I don't dwell on it. It happened. We deal with it, and then we move on. We can't change a death or anything. You have to accept it and move on.
Yeah. Within STW, I know that you guys say you're a boutique agency, and before we started, you talked about how close you are with your talent and how you put little get-togethers so the actors can get to know each other and you get to know them. Where did that come from? Like, why is that important to you?
Again, an accident.
A perfect accident once again.
Is just, I think when I'm driving, I just think up things and I'm like, we should get together. I think it started where actors wanted to come in and meet, and I was busy. I'm trying to give them a job, so I'm doing breakdowns, and so I feel guilty for all the other people because I'm spending time with this person. So I was like, what if we just get together at night when I'm not so busy, and I'll just open it up. I started doing it monthly, and then I started having a casting director come. Jackie Birch started it. She's like, you want me to come? I was like, you would do that? She goes, sure. So she came, and then I started asking, and they always said yes. This was way before COVID and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And so we started doing it once a month, and I loved it. I got to see the people in person, and, I would meet them the first time in person, but people change. They change their hair color. It's good to know their essence, to really, have a conversation with them and talk to them about life, about their dog, about, something other than acting. So I get to know them better. And that's probably my biggest thing with being an agent is the only way I can be a good agent is if I really know my talent.
Yeah.
So I insist that we get to know each other. I require my actors to check in with me every month.
Really?
I have a form that they fill out. They teach me things about them. What they like, what they don't like. My goal is to have as few declines as possible because it's wasting everyone's time if I'm submitting them on something they don't want to do. So it's my job to know what they don't want to do so that I don't submit them and waste my time, casting's time, everybody's time. So I ask a lot of questions. We have these mingles, we have conversations when we need to. And I learn a lot about them.
That's awesome. Within that check-in email that you asked for, well, you
Hmm.
said that you send a form and
Hmm.
you're asking different things, but are there other things that, like, what are you expecting to see? Like, if I remember a while ago I created a workshop called like how to be an A-list actor at your agency. How, like, what do you like to see if you're gonna be like, this is one of my A-listers, that I love? Like, what are different things that you want to see them doing?
Communication. They've got to communicate with me. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to stop submitting you because I don't know that you're not busy. If you're really 100% into this, you're going to communicate with me. If I'm sending you an audition every other day, then we're communicating. You don't have to fill out forms and all that stuff. The form mainly is to tell me, um, you know, will you do nudity? Will you work in New Orleans local hire? Will you, do you have family there? Are you able to, what is a skill that you excel at? Because, on breakdowns, it doesn't have the level you can do something. I can submit someone who's a singer, and then I send them the audition. They're like, oh, no, 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 I'm not that kind of singer. I'm like, well, then don't check it. So they can tell me what level of singer they are in their check-in form. And I've created a little hack, I guess you could say, where I can list notes on breakdowns and look at them for every actor. So I have an assistant that takes those forms and puts all of that information into the notes section. So when I'm submitting them, I can just hover over the notes and remember everything. I used to do it all in my head. But as we grew and as I got older, it's just impossible. So I hover over and I can tell where the work, any book out dates, things like that. And it makes my job, I'm able to do it more efficiently.
Yeah. You said communication is like the first thing that came out.
Hmm.
Can we elaborate a little bit more on what what is good communication versus bad communication? Because it can also go the other way around, right?
Sure, absolutely. Someone, emailing me every day saying, my friend saw this role that I'd be great for. I want to make sure you submitted me. If it's a special role and you super fit it and you want to check and see if I submitted you, 9 times out of 10 I did. So it was kind of, now I have to go back and make sure and then show you. And the best communication is always filling out the form. If you have a question, ask it. Don't guess. I do not mind a question. You can ask me questions all day long. There's even a section on the form, ask me a question. Every month, ask me something. Instead of, 300 people calling, every day, it's nice to be able to do my breakdowns and then answer an email. Do my breakdowns, answer an email. Otherwise, I'm getting distracted, and then it takes time to get back to the breakdown. I'm so particular with my breakdowns. I really read the description, and I try my best to find the perfect people, to fit it for casting.
Yeah, you're trying to hit a home run each time, essentially,
Hmm.
as opposed to, throwing the spaghetti against the wall.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Well, I mean, I think that's incredible, the relationship that you wish and want to and kind of require of your talent. And I will say being a part of Get Seen, because I think we kind of like specialize in helping actors get agents. I have heard, Miss Susan, that you drop quite a few talent.
Okay.
And I have to find out what's happening behind the scenes.
I want to be small. I want to have those relationships with my actors and be able to, really be a part of their careers. I think I have always gone into being an agent more like a manager. And because I love the business so much and I love acting so much and I taught it, that I want to help people. I'll go to a showcase, I'll see people and I want to sign them all because I want to help them. I see that they have that desire, that spark. They're like, I want it, and I want it for them. So I kind of got on a little bit of a track where I signed too many people. I did. I had good intentions. I wanted to help them. I had a couple more employees, and then I felt like I might be spreading myself too thin.
Got it.
And it wasn't so much the actors. The worst thing in the world of this business is letting go of an actor, because I really want to help them. It hurts. I'm nauseous when I have to do it. It's awful. But I don't do it like quickly. I think about it. I, have to go back and forth, and I just have to do it.
Right.
It hurts, but I have to do it. And I'm always open to explaining why. There's so many different reasons. There's no one reason. And almost, I think in 15 years, I've probably had 3 people that have given me pushback. Everybody
That you're like,
else,
we're going to drop you. And they're like, wait, don't.
No, pushback. I'm like, what? I can't believe you're doing this to me, that sort of thing. But most of the people are like, I completely understand. I totally dropped the ball. I should have communicated better. Or I know I haven't been available. I've declined a lot of auditions. So most people saw it coming, or they agreed with it, And my thought also is, if I find that I'm not submitting them because of, they aren't available a lot, or just for any reason that I feel like I'm doing them a disservice by keeping them on my roster.
For sure.
Somebody else might, see them a different way and want to submit them a different way, and they might have more success. So, I hate to say it, but it's not you, it's me, that whole thing.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that you're getting the opportunity. If I'm not giving it to you, please go out there and get it,
So behind the scenes for me, when I was hearing this, I was like, heck yeah, Susan, teach everybody a lesson.
Oh, I'm not trying to teach anybody.
No,
a
I know,
lesson
but I do feel like there's, I just think there's like a fair amount of actors like not doing their part, and they so quickly want to blame the agent. Like it's the agent's fault, or like as soon as they get the agent, they're like, all right, now I'm just gonna, sit back and wait for the auditions to come in. And, so I guess like on my end, I was like, well, if you got dropped, like there was something you weren't doing. And so can you talk about, I guess, that more specifically? And like, you're not going to like drop an actor because they haven't booked if they're doing all the right things, right?
Absolutely. I've kept people on the roster years that haven't booked anything. And then, they come into their time. Then they start booking, I never look, I don't even do statistics on who books. I just don't even think to do that. If you're a hard worker and a good person and talented, why would I drop you?
Right. I think unfortunately actors that get that in their head, they're like, well, I haven't made them any money, so if I don't make them money, then they're not going to want to work anymore for me or with me.
Well, if they're turning down opportunities, it is a business. We do have to make money. It would be the fact that they're turning down opportunities, not that they're not making me money.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, because you're working hard, like you said, like we talked about you wanting to hit those home runs within the breakdowns, right? So, if I'm with you, you're like, oh, Jesse will be perfect for this. And you've put all this effort in to get me that audition. And then I'm like, oh, I forgot to tell you I'm on vacation. I can't do it. Or, oh, I'm kind of busy, or I got stuff going on. You're like, I just wasted so much time.
And it's not one time. One time would be, of course, family obligation, absolutely. You don't like the content, absolutely decline. But just not being available a lot, not accepting an audition, and then not realizing you didn't follow up on it, or you saw it, but then you forgot to do, you'd be amazed.
Yeah.
there are people who just don't take it as seriously as a professional full-time actor should, you know?
Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, so I think just to make it clear for the listeners here is like, yeah, if something comes up in your life that's kind of like an emergency or something
Oh,
like that, like don't feel like you're the worst because you have to turn down the audition, you have a family emergency, anything like that, totally okay. But it's where it becomes kind of like a habit or it becomes a pattern that it's like, well, wait a second, what's going on? Like, because you're wanting to take this super seriously and you want the best for everyone. But if they're not putting out that same effort, then you guys aren't in alignment.
right. I can't do 90% of the work, you know? We've got to, I mean, the actor should be doing 90% of
No,
the work, you know?
100%. You're getting
We're getting you
10% when they book. So you're doing 10, they need to do 90.
We're getting you the opportunity. And the people who don't give me the tools, that's another thing. If they're not giving me updated headshots, I'm not saying go spend $100,000 on equipment and all that, you know. No, it's not about the money. You can do all of this inexpensively. You can, you
Yeah.
know. But having current headshots that are professional looking, you know, even if you didn't pay a lot, you can get decent headshots. Having your materials, update your resume. You know, I've gone on to submit someone and I look at their resume. I'm like, they don't have the last 3 jobs we booked on the resume. They didn't even bother to update their resume, you know, so you've got to be 100% in just like I'm 100% in.
Get Scene Studios was founded in helping connect actors with industry pros. We bring in the top Southeast agents and casting directors to really help you get seen by the people that matter. And we really focus this on 2 different ways, everyone. In one of our signature in-person classes or workshops called the Get Seen 360. You get to have a self-tape evaluated, then you get to work on the callback, and then you also work on a cold read. You spend 5 hours with an industry pro in the Get Seen 360. And then for our online class, and this signature workshop we have is called the Perfect Submission. And this mimics the Actors Access submission process where you send in a headshot, a self-tape, and a demo reel or clip. And so this is an incredible way to really get feedback on what that submission is looking like. And so everyone, as a thank you for listening, every single month we're going to choose one winner and you get to choose one of these classes. Any class that you want will be absolutely free, and this will be our way of saying thank you so much. So all you got to do is head to the pinned comment below, put in your name and email, and you will be entered to win. All you got to do is put in your email one time and you will live there forever, which means if you submit this month, you could win 3 months from now, 4 months from now. So go ahead and head to that pinned comment now and good luck. Yeah, I love that. And I think a good thing to think about for actors is, you know, when you're talking about the tools, I think we can get like stagnant or complacent on like, well, once I've got good headshots and once I've got a good self-taping setup and once I've already done the resume, like, haha, I'm done. And it's like, just like you would be continuing to get in a class, like, and continuing to grow that way, like, how can you continue to grow with all those other things, like those tools, like you use that, you know? So I think like, be careful of complacency and like, just continue to maybe every other month, you know, whatever goal you want to make for yourself, but maybe every other month, like I'm going to look at everything and like, how could I make this better? How could I make this stronger? How could I make this pop in some way? I mean, that's what we focus on in our mentorship program is like, how can we all of these things stand out in a powerful way?
And it's always changing.
Yes.
So if you've got you've got headshots that were 4 years ago and you've got a reel that's 4 years ago, things need updating. You know,
Totally.
it's a different look, it's a different, you know, vibe, you know. Even the reels change, you know, how we like them.
Yeah. Like before it was like different types of reels. Now it's like reels and clips. Now it's like, you know, you want to keep it short. I remember, years ago, like the role of like hipster was in like everything. So I got the hipster headshot. Now you never see hipster. It doesn't.
That's so true.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. I feel like this brings us to our spotlight sign off, Susan, which will be
Oh,
5 questions to end us strong. And question number 1 is, what is something you're extremely grateful for today?
my family. I love my family. They're everything to me. And my daughter works with me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
That's
she's the
awesome.
agency manager. She's been with me 10 of the 15 years.
Whoa.
So, I mean, she's a lot to do with the success of the business. She really is. But my family, my boys as well. I mean, my extended family, family and friends. That's what I'm grateful for.
Does your daughter want to continue to stay within the business and the agency?
She is part of STW. I mean,
Yeah.
we're a team.
That's awesome. How, well, now, hold on. I got to go like side question now.
Okay.
So then how is, does that sometimes become challenging or like, no, it's just wonderful?
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
We used to work in the same office for years and years, right? I mean, closer than this. We were,
Really?
yeah. I mean, it's your daughter, so of course we could have moments, but we've grown to this wonderful place, and I couldn't do it without her.
That's awesome. Question number 2 is, what is a book, TV show, movie, or event that changed the trajectory of your life?
Do I have to say just one?
No, there
So
could be multiples. Yeah.
I think, I did a play really young. I think I was 9, and I did a regional theater production with Broadway actors and everything. So that gave me the bug. And also, I remember seeing the movie with Sally Fields, Sybil. You're too young. You wouldn't know what it is.
I'll
But
be honest, I don't know it.
she played a whole lot of different characters, and I found that fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think, I've just always loved the industry, the films, the TV. That was my hobby. So I would say Sybil, seeing that, and then doing my first play and just being hooked.
Totally, totally. I remember my first play, and like I just remember the like ending moment like so vividly, and the main, I was the supporting, and you had the lead, and she was center stage, and she had her monologue, and it was about the Holocaust, so it was
Wow.
pretty deep, and heavy. But like, yeah, I just feel like you could hear like a pin drop at the very end, and the lights went down really slowly, and then the audience, just like went crazy, and this like feeling that like overcomes the inside of your body, and you're like, I got to go back to that. Was that kind of like a similar description for you?
Oh, I mean, it wasn't just the applause. I mean that's endorphins right there.
Yeah,
When you
yeah.
hear all that, but I think it was the journey of doing the production, from beginning to end, and just being completely immersed in it.
Yeah, definitely. Um, do you miss theater at all? Like, do you ever want to go back to it?
It's awful to say, but no. I have so much respect for the all the things that my actors do, learning the lines, being on set, the uncertainty of getting a role. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. This is where I'm meant to be.
I love that. I love that. Question number 3 is, what's something in your daily routine that you really cherish?
My day is so packed full and busy that I think I wake up early so that I can have some private time before I'm inundated with phone calls and emails, and I can sit down and really do breakdowns and reply to emails and not hit send. Although sometimes I do. People get emails from me at 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. But they're doing it to me too. So
Yeah.
I would say having a cup of coffee and getting on the computer and just kind of getting my day all set to start.
Yeah, just kind of revving up the day. I feel like, it's interesting because I thought about this question for myself not too long ago. And I was like, I feel like my day changes and I don't necessarily have some like crazy routine that I have. But I was like, I guess if it was something, it's like exactly that. It's the like getting the coffee together and just like, let's be productive and like, let's get some stuff done.
I think part of the thing that I love about this industry so much is that I don't know where my day's going to go.
Yeah.
So starting it that way is probably the only consistent thing of my day.
So true. So true. I love that. Question number 4 is, what's something that you're personally trying to improve in your life?
Well, I always say balance, but I'm not really good at it. But I need to improve on it. I need to shut my phone off more. I need to close my computer more. Yeah, that's what I need to do.
Working on balance. I got that. It's interesting with I feel like I need to turn my phone off more or things like that because I'm just like, well, if you're like so fulfilled by it, then why? You know what I mean?
That is it, because people say I need to. I
Right,
don't want
but
to.
and that's why I kind of like want to challenge it. Like I do believe in balance, but I do think balance can be different for everyone. Like if you are energized and fulfilled by doing those things, then great. But I believe like you become imbalanced when like if your husband misses you and you're like, well, I got to do this. Like then that's where it's like maybe not quite balanced. And like, do you feel unfulfilled in a different aspect of your life? Like now maybe you're not balanced, but I do wonder, like, yeah, people tell me I need to, but it's like, well, let them live their own life. Why do I need to do that? Because they think it's right. They don't know.
If anything, I get anxious that I'm not on breakdowns.
Right.
Or that I'm not reading the email. Like right now I'm thinking, how long has it been since I've looked at an email? We may have a booking I need to close, that sort of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I love it. It's the best job in the world.
That's awesome. All right, last question, and then we can, you can go close your deals. The last question is for all the listeners, and just kind of based on your life, if you wanted all the listeners to get one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Do what you love. Do what you love. It will make you happy. It's not about money. It's not about what people think about you. You've got to be happy with yourself and what you're doing.
Heck yes. Susan Walters, thank you so much for being here. It was so great.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, what the heck? You need to. So hit that subscribe button, everyone. Also, if you love this episode, send it to a friend. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you on the next one.